All righty. And hello, everyone. Welcome to Online Presenters, a virtual Toastmasters club. I'm Sergeant at Arms, Sunny Fridge, aka Dr. Sunny. Guest, we'd love to have you join our club. And please note, to be a member of our club, you must be a current or former active member of Toastmasters International and have completed at least 6 Toastmaster Club official speeches. You can also demonstrate your abilities in a 2 to 3 minute speech delivered during one of our club meetings. Please remember that all requests for membership are subject to approval by our club members. If you haven't done so already, please look at your video and rename yourself for your role. Just hover over your video, click the 3 dots, and you can rename yourself. And remember, if you haven't done so already, mute your microphone when you're not speaking. We have members and guests from many countries throughout the world. As a professional organization, we do ask that you please be aware of language or word usage that may be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. Please note that we do record the meeting. Your video and audio contribution may be used for club marketing purposes. And now, please help me welcome to the virtual stage our club president, Marianne Grady. Marianne, welcome.
Well, thank you kindly, Sunny. Now, welcome everybody. I'm so happy to see everybody this week. And our theme today is Pi Day, which was a few days ago. And my daughter, being a math teacher, had all kinds of fun things going on in her classroom. But I'm sorry, I'm not really a math person. So I'm celebrating St. Patrick's Day, and the rest of you could talk about Pi Day. So my Irish heritage has always been very important, and so much so that we actually took a kind of a roots trip to Ireland, and I had met a lot of my relatives over there. I got to see my grandparents' homes, and I thought that was fascinating. But to see, where you come from is a pretty cool thing. So I really advise that if, you're not familiar with your roots, do a little homework because you really, I don't know, I met a lot of nice people along the way. But I had so much fun, and I think you will too if you take that time to look into your background. Now, for those guests here with us, Online Presenters is a club that serves those who give online presentations professionally or who aspire to do so. And that could mean public speaking webcasts or live video, internal company video conferences, and screen sharing sessions. So if you do those kinds of things, you're in the right place. We do help you prepare to look good on camera as well as speak well on camera. Now tonight we have a packed meeting, so I'm not going to keep talking. I am going to pass it along to our Toastmaster of the day, the esteemed Dr. Andrew Byrne. Please put your hands together for Andy.
Thank you very much, Marianne. I appreciate that. And I hope that you had a great time with your family in Ireland. When we visited Ireland this past year, it was a fantastic time. We really enjoyed it a lot. But today, let's focus on what's really a lot of fun, and that's our club meeting, Online Presenters. And we have one of the people have already probably put in or will put in the agenda that you can just click on in the chat and be able to look at your agenda. The Toastmaster of the day is me, and it is a role where one is like the ringmaster of a circus, and you have 3 rings in the circus. The first ring is the prepared speeches. The second ring is the impromptu speeches known as table topics. And the third ring, and most importantly, is the fact that we have evaluations to help everybody learn. Toastmasters is an experiential learning opportunity for each of you. We also have a great deal to be excited about. And I don't know whether you want me to introduce Andre or our president to introduce our latest member to our club that was just voted in, Joseph Yang. But I just want to mention that perhaps later in the meeting, Andre can say something or Joe can say something about his excitement of joining our club. And we hope all our guests make the same decision to join the club. At this point, some of the people, functionaries that help me in this role are, I'll go through them and I'll have them explain what their role is. Timer, will you tell us what you do?
Thank you. Thank you. As timer, I'm responsible for keeping track of the meeting keeping track of time throughout the meeting. And the timer helps everyone participating in the meeting to practice being on time. I will confirm the speech timing verbally when asked to do so. And between each session, I will put the time in the chat. We have 3 speeches for tonight. 2 speeches are 5 to 6 minutes. So at 5 minutes, I will show get this out of the way. So show a green light, at 6 minutes yellow, and at 7 minutes red. We have a 20 to 25 minute speech, and it seemed as though he will be brainstorming for 20 minutes. So at 18, I will show green. At 19, I would show yellow. And at 20, I will show red. And then he has another 5 minutes, I guess, for consensus. So that would be at 23, I would show yellow. And then at 25, I would show red. For all of the evaluations, they are 2 to 3 minutes. So at 2 minutes, be green, 2.5 minutes yellow, and at 3 minutes red. For our table topics, there are 1 to 2 minutes. So at 1 minute, be green, 1.5 minute yellow, and then at 2 minutes red. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your explanation to everybody. We also have the role of the counter, someone that listens carefully to everything that we say and identifies when we mess up in terms of saying or saying the word over again. Will our counter tell us about the role?
Thanks, Andy. This is Joseph Yang here. As you mentioned, I'm the newest member of this club, so very excited about that. And right, like Andy said, thank you, David. And yeah, like Andy said, one of the objectives of public speaking is to eliminate the use of utterances such as and so on and so forth. So my job is really just to watch for those, tonight and give a brief report at the end of the session just to see how well everyone did. Back to you, Andy.
Wonderful. We also have a grammarian that listens carefully to everything that we say and see how often we incorporate the word of the day into our discussions during our time that we speak. The grammarian for today is Andre Smolenko. Andre, tell us about your role.
Yes, certainly, Mr. Toastmaster of the evening. Andre Smolenko, grammarian for today. Well, of course, grammar. Who likes grammar? I do. And the reason for it, I'm Ukrainian. And I will be listening very, very carefully into a proper use of the English language. I will make a few notes of the particularly good use of the English language, and I will report back at the end of the evening. At the same time, I will be listening carefully to another thing, to the use of the words of the day that I'm going to introduce. So the more times you use it, the more points you get. And the word of the day is limitless. It's an adjective meaning without end, without limits or boundary. For example, We know PR is limitless, but abbreviated to 3.14. I'm going to put the word of the day in the chat in a minute. At the same time, let's enjoy the grammar. Back to you, Andrea.
Thank you. Besides listening carefully to everything that you're saying, we have a chat monitor that looks at what you're saying in our chat. Are you contributing to the conversations? Are you adding to the value of our meeting? And to monitor that chat is Kithika. Please tell us about your role.
Hello, everybody. Today, as a chat monitor, I will be monitoring all your chats and giving a report by the end of the meeting. Chat is one of the important aspects more than speaking. You just have to have a multi-sensual impact in just not only seeing or just speaking, but also having a check on the limitless way that we express ourselves. So I'll be reporting by the end of the meeting the way that we conversed and the way that we expressed during the whole of our meeting. Over to you, Andrew.
Wonderful. We also want to see how you present yourself in this box, this frame. It's a different skill than just being there live. And to do that, we have a watcher. Will the watcher tell us a little bit more about the role and what you do?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. So I am the watcher. I will be watching not only the speaker and the evaluators, but I will be watching also all of the participants and the audience during today's meeting. As an online presenter, this is a key role in how we look and present ourselves on cam. So I am very honored to have this role today, Mr. Toastmaster. Back to you.
Thank you very much. We've covered most of the functionary roles, and I don't believe I'm seeing any others that are up there. If there is another role that I missed, please let me know.
There's vote counter.
Vote counter. Yes, David, please tell us about the vote counting system that we use in our club.
When there are votes to count, I will count the votes. Actually, I will post a link in the chat. If you have the Toastmasters mobile app, which I encourage you all to get if you haven't gotten it yet, you should be able to vote through that as well. So just if you don't see the choices there, click the refresh button and they should show up.
Okay,
one of the
we've
ways
covered all that.
Work around.
Thank you very much, David. We covered all the functionaries, and we want to give particular focus and honor on our latest guest, Joe Yang. Please share with us about yourself and your feelings now that you're a full member of this club.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, I should say. Look, I'm really excited. Last week I think I gave a probably like 1 hour long intro speech that causes the meeting to run over. So I won't do it this time, but just a brief introduction about myself in case anyone missed it. I'm Joseph Yang. I am based in New York City. Day job is in finance. And look, when earlier in my career, I didn't have to do a lot of public speaking. And then as the years went by, started finding myself having to do more and more public speaking and really realized that I really need some help around that. So started looking around and found this club and started going to a few sessions and realized, what a great environment to get better at public speaking with such a welcoming and encouraging crowd. So yeah, again, very excited to be here and looking forward to learning from it, from everyone. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you again for joining, Joe, and adding to the mix. We also want to, before going into Prepare to Speak, we have a unique part of our club. And that unique part of our club is
Just
the tip of the day.
Point of order, Toastmaster of the day. Since
Yeah.
we're already at the stage where we are doing the member discussing his induction, our vice president of membership does have a new member induction for Joe, so we can go into that before we go into the tip of the day.
Not a problem. Go ahead, Andre.
Thank you very much. Well, I love this official part because it just gives a new member the feel and the vibe of that 100 years old public speaking and leadership organization. Well, Joseph, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, on behalf of online presenters, Toastmasters, it is my duty and privilege to induct Joseph Young into our club. This is an important occasion for both Joseph and our club. As an experienced speaker and Toastmaster, this individual will enrich us as we strive to enrich him in a spirit of sharing and enjoyment. Together, we expand our effectiveness as dynamic leaders, presenters, and communicators. Joseph, please wait until I call on you to affirm your commitment to the Toastmaster promise. And your Toastmaster promise goes like this. I promise to attend club meeting regularly, to prepare all my projects to the best of my ability, basing them on the Toastmaster education program. I promise to prepare for all and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow. I promise to treat my fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy. I promise to bring guests to our club and to have fun during the meetings. Please unmute yourself, Joseph, and say, I do.
I do.
Excellent. Thank you. We're almost there, but it's just another little thing that we need to do. Oh, sorry, just trying to find it. Here we go. To the current members of online presenters, I remind you our pledge as well. Joseph, in his quest, so we're going to support Joseph in his quest for self-development, to provide him with positive, helpful evaluations, to maintain a friendly, supportive atmosphere, and to make Joseph online presenters Toastmaster membership a rewarding and fulfilling experience. And now is the best part. Please, everyone, unmute yourself and welcome Joseph to our club.
Hey, welcome, Joseph.
All right, Joe.
Welcome, Joseph.
Welcome, Joseph. And back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much for that. At this time, we're going to introduce Dr. Sunny Fridge, who will give us the tip of the day. This is 3 to 5 minutes or 3 minutes. Okay, take it away.
Oh, thank you so much for that warm welcome. Have you ever been in a Zoom meeting where the speaker kept switching every time someone coughed or sneezed? Of course you have. Or maybe you wanted to focus on multiple speakers at once without losing track. Well, you can do that. Zoom's multi-speaker view might just be that solution. So what is multi-speaker view? I'm glad you asked. Think of it as a combination of speaker view and gallery view. And instead of jumping from speaker to speaker, multi-speaker view keeps the active speakers larger while keeping everyone else visible in small windows. And it's great for discussions, panels, and yes, Toastmaster meetings. So let's see the difference. First, I'm going to call on our newest member. I believe Joseph, would you unmute for a minute? And Mr. Toastmaster of the day, what I want you to do while Joseph is maybe just giving us a little bit more about what his favorite food is, I want you to start coughing. Joseph, are you there?
I am here and happy to share what my favorite food is. It's a very simple food. You can probably prepare it in 5 minutes. What is it? It's it's what is it? That's what it grilled cheese. For some
That's
reason
fine.
for
That's
some
fine.
reason it skipped my memory, but that's my
No
favorite food.
worries.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to show a point, and apparently Andy's voice wasn't strong enough to cough to interrupt the speaker. But that is what happens often unless we use something called Spotlight. But multi-view is different. So I want us, and thank you again, Joseph. I want you to let's look at it. So this update has been out for several months, and if you've updated to at least Zoom 6.0, you can follow along with me. So I want you, if you can, to look at the top of your screen on the other side of recording, and you will see view. All right. So what I want you to do is first select speaker view. First, select speaker view, and probably I'm the one talking, so that is who you see. Allie, if you start talking, would you just talk and maybe just give us some comment really quickly? Again, it should switch to Allie.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
there
Thank
we
you,
go.
Dr. Sunny.
All right.
So,
Welcome
yeah,
back,
it
by the
didn't
way.
switch on my screen though.
Yes, it just switched. So
Okay.
that's speaker view, and we probably all know that. Now let's switch together, go to view again, and let's click on gallery view. And if your screen worked, of course, you'll see all the members. And so that's cool too. All right, and now let's switch one more time and let's click multi-view, multi-view. And Allison, now if you talk and then Andy, you join in, Andy should rise to the top because it
Okay.
recognizes the people who are speaking. So go ahead, Allison, maybe ask Andy a question.
Okay. And Andy, what was your favorite moment of the week this week?
Going to sleep and getting some rest.
Going to sleep and getting some rest.
Awesome. So you see Andy jumped up. And so that can come in handy, everybody, when you want to have multiple speakers, but you want to see some of them as well as a little bit more interaction. So why does this matter for Toastmasters? So here are a few ways multi-view can enhance our Toastmasters meetings. During table topics, it keeps the current speaker prominent while you can still see audience reactions. So that's kind of cool. Panel discussions can highlight multiple speakers without constant switching. And then finally, evaluations. If you'd like, the evaluator and the speaker can be seen together, making feedback more interactive. So once again, speaker view, and I think I probably need to spotlight myself. Let's see if I can well, no, I don't need to spotlight myself. This was speaker view when one person is talking. This again is gallery view where you could see everyone. And then this is what multi-view looks like when a few speakers are speaking. So that is what multi-view is. And I hope that maybe you'll give it a chance. If you host or participate in another Zoom-based meeting, multi-view, multi-speaker view is a great tool to improve engagement and visibility. Try it in your next meeting or virtual event. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thanks very much, Sunny. And one of the views that we do not use routinely, an example of that would be when we had our workshop on parliamentary procedures, is that we could go into a Zoom webinar as opposed to a Zoom meeting. In a Zoom webinar, you can have panelists identified, but they're not disturbed by anybody else in the meeting. And it's a great way of providing an information-rich time during where you have a workshop. Just another thought. There are 4 different types of Zoom meetings that exist. You have the Zoom meeting, which we have right now. You have Zoom webinar, you have Zoom sessions, and you have Zoom conference. Just so that you know that there's a difference between all of them.
Yes, thank you for that, because now it sounds like it's going to soon be limitless. Back to you.
Exactly. And don't want to keep you away from the meat of the meeting. And the meat of the meeting that's limitless is our speaking. So will I have the first speaker come to the front? And let me just pull up who we have today. As our first speaker is Renee Ladlow, Joni. She's doing Presentation Mastery Level 1, Mastering Fundamentals, Introduction to Vocal Variety and Body Language. Timer, 5 to 7 minutes.
I previously did a speech about to stand or not to stand. I've decided I don't want to stand. Now that left me with a conundrum. I mean, after all, we're told that we're more powerful, dominant, stronger when we present if we are standing. So how am I going to fix that? Well, simple. Reframe. Ta-da! Think about it. From the waist down, when we're standing, what basically is the only thing we do except to manage our space and move from place to place? Well, in case you missed it, I'm kind of trapped in a box and I'm comfortable. But from the waist up is where most of our activities happen. Think about it. I'm upset. I'm angry. I'm warm. I'm welcoming. If I sit up in my chair, it changes my posture, which also, guess what? Changes my tone. Don't tell them from the waist down that it still happens to be sitting down. I mean, after all, I'm still proud and confident. Even though I'm a little bit comfortable. Reframing is important because most of the time, when we're all the way down here, our gestures get lost right here. The point that doesn't connect is that even though my hands are moving, you will never see them. Unless I'm talking about something that I actively say, I'm thinking about this, or I remember to lift them. But if I'm reframed, there is no way you will not see my hands flying all over, because by default, from the waist up, it's in frame. And unless I decide to put them down here, okay, this is a bit uncomfortable. There's no way you'll miss them. I mean, after all, initially when I used to speak, they said, put your hands behind your back. Enough, this actually works when you're seated and it gives you the same posture. I can be not gesticulating. I can choose to project my voice. And when I don't know what to do with my hands, put it right back behind me. Reframing helps for those of us who are not vertically who would prefer to not be standing. Now, it's always good to learn if you plan to go out and present and project to those around you. We've all been in person and seen that person with their hands gripping the lectern, holding on for dear life as they try to present their first speech, because it has to keep them ready. But online is different. My conversational style is very comfortable. It's one-on-one. It's what you would do when you're presenting to someone who you're talking to or speaking to directly. Regardless of what people say, most meetings are done. Get this, sitting down. So it does help, especially if you plan to be in the online space, in this little box, to learn how to utilize it to still bring across your message while including your gestures. Now, there are times that gestures are not very important or necessary in what you're presenting. I mean, after all, if you're doing a PowerPoint and most of your time is spent this way, I really doubt you want to reframe so everybody hears click, 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 click. Wait, not hears. Sees. In cases like that, from here up is fine in your framing. But it has always annoyed me to be in a meeting where the mass of the space is either not used, above your head, or to your sides, because everybody believes it has no interest in the discussion. What's my suggestion if you want to stay seated? If you still want to remain confident and poised, even if, like me, you like to flap and have to keep your hands behind your back, it helps to just simply reframe. Back to you, our Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you very much, Johnny. And we're very excited about your speech. It's imparted much wisdom. Our second speaker for the day is Graham Carnes, and he'll be sharing a speech that is 20 to 20. Are you going a full 20, 25 minutes, Graham?
The idea is the first segment, which is where I will be seeking a consensus, will run for 20 minutes, and then 3 minutes to rehash or to let people know what the consensus was if one has been reached. So yeah, 20 to 25 with lights at 18, 19 and 20, and then at 21, 22, 23.
Okay. The introduction that you provided says, at one stage during COVID, online presenters had well over 60 members. It currently has approximately 1/3 of that. In this project, Graham Carnes is tasked with leading a discussion of members toward achieving a consensus. He's chosen to brainstorm ideas for increasing membership for the club for a period of up to 20 minutes, and then to summarize the consensual feelings reached if one can be achieved in up to 3 minutes. Let's go. Graham, we look forward to seeing you. Timer, are you aware that you're timing 2 components, one to go for 20 minutes, then one for 3 minutes? Yes?
Excellent. Okay, so I shall begin. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, Toastmasters and guests. Before I go any further, the purpose of this project is for me to try to lead a discussion which reaches a consensus. We need to define some matters here first. There is a difference between a consensus, a decision, a cooperation, and basically we need to reach something where we can all agree. So it's not a compromise where somebody has to give something up. It is a consensus where we all think this is the best way forward. What I'm going to do, as I mentioned, is I'm going to look at this club's current membership level compared to our past. I'm going to ask, do we wish to increase this club's current membership base? If so, to what extent do we wish to increase it? And then I will ask questions of you of how that may well be achieved. I have to say, before I go any further, nothing that we decide here today will be binding on the club. I'm not a member of the committee. I'm not the vice president membership or the president or the vice president public relations. I am not asking this group here to make binding decisions on the club. But what I am asking for is a consensus on what we can suggest to the club executive on ways to go forward. So I want this to be a democracy, or at least as close to a democracy as we can. But we can't have an absolute free-for-all, because if we do, as we've already discovered, when one person talks, they take over control of the meeting. So I would ask if you can physically raise a hand if you've got something to say, or if you wish to vote one way or another. The basics. This club, at its peak, had, I think, 68 or 70 members. I can't remember the exact figures, but I know that it was certainly up around that level. That was during COVID times. I know that this club had well over the 20 that was required to charter. When it chartered, I think we chartered with about 30. As I say, we reached into the high 60s. We are now, well, we're above 20, but we're, as I say, around 1/3 of the level that I was expecting. So I have a question. Who would like to see this club increase its current membership? Just a show of hands. Because if we don't get a show of hands that we want the club to increase its members, then there is no point in continuing this discussion. All right, I think we have reached a consensus that we would like to see the membership of this club increase. Now the rubber hits the road. How much do we wish this club to increase? Does anybody here want us to go back to the days when we had 60 or 70 members? Anyone who'd like that? Show of hands. I must admit, I would feel uncomfortable going back to that level again, because even though we are a weekly club, it makes it difficult for members to meet their educational needs if they can't get on the roster for 6 weeks. So, anyone want to give me a suggestion of what you would like our club to increase to? Devi, sorry, Katika, I see your hand up. Or were you doing that? Yeah, yes.
Okay. It was a mistake, but the can you repeat the question? Sorry.
I was just asking what we've agreed in general terms that we'd like to see the club's membership increase. I'm asking what we would like the club's membership to increase to, because if we don't have a target, then we can never achieve anything. If we just say, yeah, we want to increase it, we need to set a specific target, I would argue, although you may disagree. And if you do, tell me that as well. But yeah, so I've seen a couple of hands up.
Translate the number, it should be 35 to 40.
35 to 40 is what you're feeling. Cool. Okay. David, you've got a hand up.
Just the same, 35 to 40. I think that's
35 to 40.
That's a great target. I'm not sure it's actually a realistic target, but it would be a good thing to shoot for.
All right. So 35 to 40 as a target. Marianne.
I like that number as well because it gives us a little more variety with speakers and having different members. Because when we have a smaller amount, you see the same people speak and their speaking styles again and again. So when you have more people, it's a better educational environment, in my opinion.
Cool. Sunny, your hand is up.
Yes, and then you don't have to take 2 and 3 roles, right? But at one point I heard 30 was the new 20 for a lot of Toastmasters clubs. So that's a consideration as well. But I like 30 and 35. Thank you.
All right. Is there anybody actually? No, your hand is up, Andy.
Thank you very much, Graham. I would use the statistics for Toastmasters historically and globally that they lose about 43% in any year, which is how you come to goals 7 and 8 to replace 8 people. If you look at that structure, then it means that we should be shooting for not less than 28 people in the club, and 30 is a good round number. But that's the reason, the rationale, one should be replacing and working that process so that when people do drop out for whatever reason, you have a good, healthy number of at least 20 plus in your club. So the magic number is 30.
All right, cool. So there is a general consensus that we should be aiming for somewhere around, let's go with the midpoint figure, say 35. Does that sound like a consensus that we can agree upon? That we should be looking at a membership of around about the 35 members? Is that anybody violently disagree with that? All right, well, let's go with that as a consensus. That we want to have a club membership, a base membership of somewhere around the 35 mark. We've set a goal. Now we need to set a target. Is there a realistic time frame that we could expect to achieve that growth to 35 members? Does anyone believe that we could do that within 6 months? Realistically, does anyone think we could do that within 6 months?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
All right. That was you, Alison, was it? I wasn't quite sure. That was Alison believes we can do it within 6 months.
Yes.
Marianne, you believe we could do it within, sorry, yes.
I do not agree that we can do that in 6 months, and not for lack of trying, but we've done a lot of different things over the past several months to get new members in. And some of those things are Joni has been securing some very good educational sessions to attract people in just to kind of see what it's all about. And we do get some members coming from those things, but not a great number. I think it would be difficult to grow to that number based on what we're doing now. And if somebody had other ideas, I mean, we're certainly open to listening to them. But right now, I would say with the tools and the things we've discussed, I'd say no.
I'll agree with that.
David's in concurrence with that. All right.
May I
Yes,
counter?
please.
May I
Yes.
counter, Graham? Okay, thank you. So what I'm thinking and why I think it is achievable in 6 months is if every member invites one person, and we keep in each week we try to invite a guest. So for example, John Staten is a very close friend and a coworker, and I invited him here this evening. If we each would set a goal and strive to invite one person at least once a month, we can potentially grow the group. And I think if we set a goal and we were passionate about it, that we could actually achieve it. So that's my counter argument.
So some believe we could do it in 6 months, some believe we couldn't. How about we make it a target? Instead of aiming for 6 months, we aim for 9 months. Is that feasible? That's 1.5 cycles of the Toastmasters membership semi-annual period. So in 9 months, could we increase our membership by 50%? Is there any reason? And so there's a hand up, Andrew.
One thing that can help you identify how you're hitting the mark is the fact that now you can join easily directly through Toastmasters or even through our website for 1 full year. Most of the programs have been organized so that the requirements for DTM and others, or Distinguished Toastmaster, require a 1 year commitment. If you had membership with a focus on 1 year renewal process, then you know exactly how many people are committed for that full year and you build on that. Right now, there's a whole bunch of unknowns and uncertainties as we go through the renewal process at the end of March and at the end of September. So I think that if we really promote and show through our own leadership 1 year membership roles, you're making a commitment to the club for 1 full year, and you don't have to worry about where we are because you'll know where we are for that full year. And then you know how much you have to build upon.
Thanks, Andy. That's a specific which we'll get to in a little while, if we can reach the consensus first on that we can achieve the target that we are setting within a achievable timeframe. We need to, I think, try to work on getting a consensus on a timeframe. Alison believes we can do it in 6 months. Marianne believes we can't do it in 6 months. How about we, as I say, look at a compromise of 9 months, which is between the two? And I know we're not supposed to be looking at compromises, but can we agree that it is possible for us to, first up, can we agree that it is possible for us to grow the club to the target that we are aiming at? Without looking at a time frame, is it possible for us to grow to that target? Anyone who does not believe that we can grow to that target of 35? All right.
We didn't
So
list where we're starting from. We haven't said where we're starting from. Are we starting from 18, from
I
17?
believe we're currently 23.
Okay,
I
so
haven't actually got access to the figures because
Yes.
I'm not a member of the committee, but I believe that we've currently got 23, maybe 24 with Joe joining today.
I'll have to look.
If it's 24, then we're talking about a 50% increase to go to 36. Can anyone see the figures? Or actually, let me take a look. Dashboard will tell us what we currently have. Dashboard Toastmasters.
Dashboard's behind.
Yeah, I know it's always behind, but at least it gives us an indication. District U. Sorry, I'm just bringing this up. So hopefully, is anybody not aware what I'm talking about when I say dashboard? Dashboard is Toastmasters tells us what we're doing. We're District U, Division O for online, online presenters. According to this, we currently have 21 members. Well, that would be behind. So we probably have 22. We started with 25 at the beginning of this semi-annual period. We're now currently at 21, although, to be fair, there will be members who haven't yet paid. But yeah, so let's say we've got a membership of 22. We'll call it 24. So it's an increase of 50% that we're looking at. David?
Not to interrupt, but to let you know the true number, we only have 7 people that have paid at this point with less than 10 days to go for the second round, taking us to September 30th. So that means that of the 23, we only have 7 that have paid forward, which is another argument for why you want to know where you are and really work on your membership that you currently have to see that converted to a real number. Otherwise, you have to only assume that you have what is there and do the increase plus the people that have not yet signed in.
Although realistically, you would expect that the vast majority of the 14 who have not yet paid will pay over the next 10 days. I would certainly hope so. But all right, let's say we're starting at 20, which is all that the club needs to be a club in good standing. Sorry, actually, we only need 8 to be a club in good standing. Let's not go down that far. Let's assume a base of 20, and we're looking to go to 35. I mean, there are some assumptions that are being made here, but we have to make assumptions. Otherwise, we are operating in an ether. David, you had a question, comment, observation.
You had suggested 9 months. I'm thinking it probably would take us a year. And that assumes that we start catching a break at some point. Because I feel like we're actually doing a lot of the right things that we should be doing to attract people to the club, and hopefully to retain people in the club. And it is not working as fantastically as I would like it to. I mean, you talk about the period that we were in 60, and it was boosted by COVID, but I think we actually were on a good trajectory going into that, but it was in a different phase of things where people had not experienced online Toastmasters and were coming to us even before COVID, coming to this club, trying to get a taste of it. And was this an interesting thing to participate in? So I think we were on a good trajectory there. And we need to catch our second wind somehow, and generate new interest in the club.
All right. Can I ask Sarah how we're going for time, by the way? You're muted.
We're at 15.56.
Right. Okay, so I've only got about 5 minutes left for us to try and reach a consensus. I think there is a consensus that we can agree upon that we would like the club's membership to grow. I think there is a consensus that we would like the club to grow to around the 35 mark. I think there is not a consensus on what is a reasonable time frame to do that. But 6 to 12 months would seem to be a general ballpark at which we would all feel comfortable. Is that fair? How we do it is an entirely different question, but have we reached a consensus at least that we would like to see this club's membership grow to around 35 or so in a foreseeable future, that is 6 to 12 months? Is anyone who would disagree with that? This is the whole thing about consensus, of course. You've got to try and get agreement with everybody. Now, I would dearly love to agree with Alison that we could do this in 6 months. I would dearly love to see us get back to 40 members, which I think is a really good level for this club, given that we are a weekly club rather than a fortnightly or a monthly club. But if we agree as a consensus that we should aim for 35 members, and if we agree that we should do it over the next 6 to 12 months, this is where the rubber gets to the road. Now we have to work out how that can be achieved. We don't have time today to work that out. But what we do have time today is for me to make a plea to you. Specifically, I want, before next week's meeting, I want you to jot down 3 ideas, 3 actionable ideas that should be SMART. That is specific. What's the M in SMART? I can never remember. Measurable, achievable, recordable, and timely. Anyway, I want specifics. We've had from Alison a really good suggestion that we all aim to have a personal guest here at least once a month. That's one suggestion. I want you to come up with 3 actionable items that we can consider. Now, I'm not committing the club to doing any of these, but what I am asking you to do is to come back to next week's meeting with those. And I would like to then volunteer to take notes as we ask you to do that. And I will then present this as a follow-up to this presentation to the club board. Can I ask that of you? Are you willing to come to next week's meeting with 3 actionable ideas, even if they don't work? They don't have to be workable, but they have to be actionable. Marianne, is that a vote yes, or have you got a question?
I just wanted to point something out to the members, because if you haven't been a member for a long time, you might not realize that it's not just our clubs that are losing members. It's clubs all over the world. It's an issue with Toastmasters International, not just online presenters. So I don't want you to think there's anything wrong here, but it's something that's very important that we think about ways to entice people to come back. So one of the things we did this year was we reinstated kind of the social time beforehand. And that was to kind of replicate that friendliness that you have in an in-person meeting. People talk before the meeting, people talk after the meeting, and it's a way to get to know one another and feel a little more connected. So that's been catching on, and I note that more people are signing on early, but I love this idea, and I love that everyone would come up with ideas, and we'd be happy to go through them and see what makes sense for our club. But thank you, Graham, for doing this.
All right, thank you. All right, so we appear to have reached the end of our time for the actual consensus building process, and I thank you for your participation. I also thank you for your general agreement to come back at our next meeting in 1 week's time with 3 actionable items that we can consider. I notice that Alison, for example, has already put 2 really good ideas up into the chat. I will take note of that. I've got some ideas. I didn't want to lead with those today because that's not the role of this project. This project is to build a consensus. But what I'd really like is for you to come with ideas that you think could help this club grow to the target that we have agreed upon, that is 35 to 40 members, and the time frame that we have generally agreed upon, that is over the next 6 to 12 months. That's, I believe, the consensus that we have reached today. That's, I hope, something that we will all continue to work with. I do not wish this to be seen in any way, shape, or form as a criticism of the current board, because they are doing a marvelous job. And as has been pointed out, Toastmasters as an organization has been facing a membership crisis for some years now, and it is continuing because life keeps getting in the way. Quite frankly, short of somebody releasing another serious outbreak somewhere that's going to put the world back into lockdown, I don't know that there's anything that we can do that's easy. But just because it's easy or not easy doesn't mean that it can't be done. I thank you for your contributions today. I look forward to seeing your responses at our next meeting, or via email to me if you're not going to be here at the next meeting. Or if you think about something, just let me know. Use the WhatsApp group. The more discussion we can have of this, the more tools we have in our kit to rebuild this club. And with that, I hand control back to you, Mr. Toastmaster. I believe that's you, Andy.
Thank you very much, Graham. I appreciate that. We are resting at 8:42, and next on our agenda, if you pull that up from the chat, we normally have table topics. Our third speaker has not shown up. Is that correct? He hasn't materialized. I don't see him there. So the next person I'd like to call up to lead that portion of our meeting, our circle number 2, is Asil, who will be our topics master. Tell us about what we do during this segment of our meeting, Asil.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, we are way over time, so I have only one question for the table topics on this theme, Pi Day. And my question will be, Pi goes on forever without repeating. If you had limitless time, what's something you would love to learn or master? Trisha, are you there?
I am. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
It's so great to see you. I haven't seen you
I
for a long
know.
time.
Hi,
So
everybody.
did you hear the question?
I did. Thank you. So if I had limitless time, what would I like to learn more about? And some kind of endless learning. I'm a never-ending learner, so learning about a lot of things, like everything I do, I try to incorporate something I'm learning about and then sharing the learning with someone else in terms of the application of it. I'm in education, so it's a natural phenomena. A particular topic, I like travel, so I would like to learn about more about different cultures and be able to travel and hear about people's stories. I like hearing about it. Everybody's got a story, right? So that's something. Learning about different cultures and foods and lifestyles, similarities and differences, and just sharing those kinds of experiences. I like to do mission trips too, so I get some exposure to that stuff when I get to do those kinds of things in different environments that is different than my daily lifestyle. So that's what I would like to do, because then that gives you exposure to different places and temperatures and weather and dress and just the whole experience, right? So it gives you a different perspective, and it's pretty renewing when you get to travel and do those kind of fun things. It's been a while, but I would like to be able to do something like that and see how I can help others through the experiences.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Trisha.
you.
That's beautiful. Learning about different cultures and traveling. Wow. So for the benefit of our guests, this is a table topic session where we practice our quick thinking, as Tricia showed us, for 1 to 2 minutes. And if you'd like to participate, please raise your hand. Meanwhile, I will read the next question. The universe is limitless. If you could travel anywhere in the universe, where would you go and why? John, would you like to participate and answer this question? Our guest, John.
Where would I go and why? That's a great question. I really do not have an answer for that inside the universe.
It can be countries, cities, any
Well, the
places
country
you want to
would be
go.
Australia. That's been a bucket list of mine for the last 30 years. And I am pulling a blank on what the name of the auditorium or the venue is down there that is on all of the brochures.
Sydney.
Thank you. But that, like I said, it's a bucket list item from a young child, and that is honestly just to experience the culture, the food, and the history of the country.
Thank you so much, John. It's a great destination. We have lived in Australia for a while, so I can tell it's a beautiful country. It's a great choice. Thank you for participating in the table topics. Next question, the last question. Online presenters connect people from around the world, making our growth truly limitless. What is one skill or insight you've gained or hope to gain from being part of an international club? So this question will go to Zach. Would you like to? Okay. I would like to ask a smaller role would be Joe. Joseph?
Oh yeah, thanks. Thanks, Cecile. I believe the question is what's one insight that I have gained or wish I would gain from participating in an international club like online presenters? Is that the
Yes.
question?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think one of the insights that I would like to gain is actually, you can actually learn a lot from what people choose as their speech. Um, Me coming from kind of a corporate background, a lot of the speeches that I have in my head that I'm planning are about, stuff that's related to the corporate world or about work-life balance or about how much my work is stressful and all that and how to manage that. So for me, one of the things I would love to learn is how other people kind of perceive the world, right? And I think we learn a lot about that through kind of the speeches that they pick, for these meetings. And I think, Asil, you yourself have I think spoken, I think, quite a few times about many, many interesting topics. So that's, I think, one of the things that, for me at least, is very interesting and insightful about being in a international club, is just hearing what other people find interesting about their lives and what they choose to speak about. So.
Thank you so much. I totally agree with you. Yes, we keep learning being in this club, in this wonderful club. And this is just only a plus to be here. Thank you so much. So that concludes my table topic session. And I'm grateful and thank you so much for participating. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Cecile. Wonderful, wonderful job in leading us through impromptu speech. The next segment is very, very, very important. And our general evaluator is Christine Staples. She will Banks, and she will lead us through our two evaluators, Jim Barber and Allison, for our two speakers. And the timer will tell us how much time is allocated for each of the evaluations.
Evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes. So at green at 2 minutes, yellow at 2.5, and red at 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Sarah. Go ahead, General Evaluator Christine. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster, for the day. Good evening, everyone, distinguished guests, and everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So as a general evaluator, my role is to help to provide feedback on the meeting, how it was conducted, and so on. And I did have some helpers today. And so I'm going to call on our counter to share your evaluation report.
Just a point of order, Madam General Evaluator, speech evaluators go first.
Oh,
So they
thank
can
you so
catch
much.
what the evaluators do wrong.
Thank you so much. So speech evaluator.
First one is Jim Barber.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, my fellow Toastmasters, and of course, Joni. Always a delight to hear you speak, and tonight was no exception. You were speaking from presentation mastery level 1, you were emphasizing vocal variety and body language. Actually, it was supposed to introduce you to vocal variety and body language. Introducing you to vocal variety and body language is like, oh, I don't know, introducing I can't even think of a good comparison right now, but you are already a master of those two things. And so you were simply exploring body language, you were exploring vocal variety. You didn't need to learn it yourself. You were showing us what could be done with those things. I loved your topic of reframing. It was such a nice segue from last week's educational session on the use of props. You were they talked during the prop session about that you could use body language as a prop. You could use your gestures as a prop, and you did that marvelously tonight. You were using the frame, the visual frame so well. Your hands were all over the place. You emphasized at other times how when your hands were down below, I'm wiggling my fingers right now, but you can't see them, but you bring them up in the frame and you can make use of the frame. You did that so well. Of course, your vocal variety, you're a little bit shy and soft-spoken, but you're going to come out of your shell one of these times. No, your vocal variety, of course, was superb. You are a master at using your voice to convey information, to convey emotions, did so well. And again, your presentation skills were masterful. You were using the visual frame in ways that I can't do right now because, let's see, I only have a part of a visual frame here. Here we go. But you can get to that sort of thing. I do have one suggestion for you, and it has nothing to do with your presentation. Frankly, I thought your presentation was wonderful. But it's not illustrated quite so much here, but you were using your gestures quite a bit to get up to the maximum part of the visual frame. And the online part, the part that I got rid of for this because it would black out my other thing, the online presenter's name and the 100-year and so on like that, which I like that. But in your presentation this afternoon, it interfered. It was distracting to what you were doing when your hands were up at the top. So I would suggest for the type of presentation that you were doing today, where you were visually reframing, that you instead go to a blanker background, which I'm looking for one right now, but even something like Joe has, where there's nothing distracting behind you so that you can see what's going on a little bit better. That's my only suggestion. This was a masterful presentation, and I'm looking forward to your next one. Madam General Evaluator. and you're muted.
Thank you so much for that. Can we move to the second speech evaluator?
Yes, ma'am. I will be evaluating Graham. Graham, this was a challenge. This was a level 3 effective coaching, increasing your knowledge. You could not have picked a more relevant topic to cover. Your choices, I'm sure, were limitless. There were thousands of topics you could have chose to pick on reaching a consensus, but you chose something that is very dear to Toastmasters, and that was to grow our membership. You, Graham, are a master at presentation and conducting what I felt was sort of like a panel discussion. You started off the speech with explaining what a consensus was. You wanted everyone to understand what a consensus was, and most importantly, what a consensus was not. And that was very important because some people take for granted that everyone may know, and then there may be some people that are a little confused. You spent the perfect amount of time discussing that. And then as you delve into your speech, your topics were relevant. You gave everyone plenty of time to speak and to speak their mind. And for everyone listening, Graham and I did not know I was going to be Graham's evaluator until the meeting when Joni pinged me and asked me if I would evaluate Graham. And Graham and I did not conspire together to come up with a little bit of a challenging timeline goal. And Graham, you handled that masterfully. And that combines with the experience of what I believe that we are doing here, and what has led me to become a part of this group is to increase our online presentation skills and our public speaking skills. And Graham, you put on a masterful performance today that you could be in the Sydney Opera House of Toastmasters, my friend. That you didn't get tripped up, you didn't get stumbled. If I frustrated you or aggravated you, you never let it shown. And you switched and transitioned to each topic and each piece seamlessly, and it was like you were completely scripted. Just a great topic. I loved how at the end you gave a call to action to everyone. Come back with three topics. I mean, you could have fooled me, Graham. I would think that you were on the board and you were part of the membership committee to drive membership. It was phenomenal. And I strive one day to be like you. The only suggestions that I may have would be to have ahead of time our membership numbers. If I had to pick and tell you something, which we typically have to do, and I learned that from Dr. Byrne, is we have to mention something, and I would mention it right there, that it would have been great if you could do that. But other than that, Graham, it was a wonderful speech, very thought-provoking, and a call to action for everyone. So thank you, Graham. It was great to be your evaluator this evening. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Evaluator. One of the things that I really love about online Toastmasters is how much help you get as you go, because this is my first role as evaluator, and you guys are doing so very well. And so we now move. Thank you so much for that, Watcher. And I see you have evaluated to and Watcher. Are those two roles, Alison?
Yes, they are two separate roles.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. I'm trying to. Okay, thank you so much. All right, so we move now to the functionary reports. Can we call on the Watcher? Right, you're right there to give you a report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Wow. This evening's speeches were great. The eye contact that the speakers made while they were speaking. Joni, there's something about you that I absolutely love. When you speak, I watch your eyes. Not only do your hands and your body motions tell a language, but Joni, your eyes also. And that's something as online presenters that we have to be aware of. And for individuals like Graham, myself, and Jim that wear glasses, and David, that sometimes we get a little bit of a glare and it makes it distracting. But I loved your eye movements, Joni, and everyone did a phenomenal job. I love David's intense focus when the speakers are speaking. David is just laser tuned into it. And I love everyone's background, as you said. I blurred mine, and it's something to not be a little distracting. I love the use of the pie and the different variety and Madam President's lucky 4-leaf clovers in the background. So it was a great meeting. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much for that. So can we now call on the counter?
Yeah, thank you, Madam
give your
General.
report.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. I'll just keep it brief. I think everyone was great tonight. You know, there's two approaches to the counter. One is to count exactly how many ahs each person sort of uttered over the course of their speech and evaluation. The other approach is just to see if there's anything distracting. And, you know, I like to take the second approach, and I think everybody did really well tonight. You know, I'm sure there's probably 1 or 2 ahs here and there, but overall, you know, nothing that was distracting that I have noticed. So thank you, everyone, and back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Counter Joe. So we now call on the grammarian to give your report, please.
Yes, certainly, Madam General Evaluator, I'll be brief as much as I can be. The word of the day is limitless. It's been used a number of times. We have champions, and the champion is Asil, our table topics master. She used the word of the day 4 times. And on the second place, Andrew Byrne, our Toastmaster of the day. He used the word 3 times. I'm not going to go to the 3rd or 4th place because of the time-saving exercise. What I would like to mention, though, is particularly good use of English language. Marianne Grady said the phrase, replicate friendliness. Just think about that, replicate friendliness. I really like the magnificent side of that. Also, Graham used the words, the rubber hits the road. I'm still not quite sure the meaning of that, but it sounds amazing. Sounds like, yes, something is happening very quickly. To me, that's the end of my report. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much for that. And at this point, I'd like to call on the timer to share your report.
All members, all speakers qualified. And the timing, exact minutes were in the chat, but everybody were within time.
Thank you so much for that. All right, so did I miss anyone, or did I get through everyone? I got through everyone.
Well, we have votes. We have winners.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Do that real quick.
Yes.
It's probably not that quick. All right. For table topics, all these were really close, by the way, but Joe Yang, our newest member, Joe Yang. For evaluator, Allison Blakeman ran away with it. Well, again, they were all really close, but she edged out the other evaluator. And for best speaker, it was Graham.
Okay, that was it. Thank you so much. All right, so we have the chat monitor. The chat monitor still here?
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking, why do we have a chat monitor, though we have the meeting to be recorded, as well as we have lot many other technologically advanced option to look back at the chat. Now I understand. Yes, we do want a chat monitor because you missed me. Over the course of the meeting, we just started with discussing about the tip of the day, specifically about Zoom and its features, and there were conversations about multi-speaker view in the Zoom, and the chat obviously navigated towards multiple other directions, like understanding the growth factor of the club, the Toastmasters club, as well as to focus on the DTM eligibility, and other distinguished Toastmaster who are already here inside the club have discussed more about the growth perspective and the success rate for bringing up Toastmasters to the next level of online presenters, and that is how the chat got navigated, and there was also one share from Kritika and one share from I think Andrew, specifically based on converting members into registered users. And apart from that, there are not much conversation that is going on. I think we need to improve a lot in future. Over to you.
Thank you
Madam.
so much. Thank you so much for that report. And so just to provide my general report, the meeting started on time, which was actually great, because it shows that level of respect for everybody's time, which I also appreciated. I love the transitions. They were smooth from speaker to speaker. Dr. Sunny, you just had me engaged because I'm big on that presentation bit. Thank you, Joni. And I think it was a very, very useful session. And you had me leaning in, as did you, Joni. You had me leaning into your presentation as you speak. The meeting followed the agenda well, and we maintain energy. All the presentations were good, they were engaging. And Graham, you really drew me in. I learned a lot about the online presenters as I listened to you and thought about membership and so on. So that was good for some of us who are newer to the online presentation tool. So you did a fantastic job in keeping the meeting moving forward and engaged. Table topic master, Ansel, you did a great job in using the word limitless and drawing it into different scenario. And I learned a lot from that, as I'm sure other persons also did. The evaluators, your feedback were insightful. I particularly liked how each evaluator for the speeches, how you highlighted the areas where the individuals were strong, the speakers were strong. You also highlighted areas for commendation, but also areas where they could improve so that they are learning more as we are learning, as we are observing them. And that is about it in terms of just the general observation. Overall, it was a fantastic and engaging session. And I thank everyone for participation. And that's my feedback. Back to you, Mr. General, not General, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day. I'm learning the terms, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Christine Staple Ebanks. We appreciated all that you did while you were in control of the evaluations for the club members and all the functionaries that helped you out in that role. As we put in the chat, when people say limitless in the context of pi, how big is limitless? And I put in a winning number for the Society of Pi. They have identified the digits counted out to 62.8 trillion digits. Imagine that, 62.8 trillion digits for pi, and then they gave up. That must have been some time to do that. Perhaps when we have quantum computers running, we will get the answer to what is the final number for pi, but we'll see. That takes us to the end of the meeting. We did introduce our newest member, and before we go, I wanted to make sure that we bring up each of our guests and give them at least 30 seconds timer so that they can tell us what their experience at the club was like. Let's start with Zach. What was your experience?
It was interesting. You have been to local clubs, in-person clubs, and I'm not able to go to those anymore. It was actually better than I expected to be honest with you. I just thought it would be awkward, but the way you guys have innovated some roles, for example, to make them work for online, that's very cool. So yeah, very, very good. Thank you for this opportunity to join and watch you guys.
We look forward to seeing you next week. And of course, you see Andres Slamenko's head going up and down. He's the VP of membership, and have any questions, just drop a line or make sure that he has your information. The next guest is John Staten. Can you tell us about what you experienced for this time?
Thank you. My experience with this is learning or becoming more familiar with the decorum of the formalized meeting. It's nice to see that. Unfortunately, the majority of my meetings that I host, formalities go to the wayside because they are generally a emotionally charged event. So it's very nice to see the decorum.
Well, we welcome you back. We thank you for being here. Again, touch base with Andre, and I'm sure he can answer any questions that you might have. Welcome all new members, and we are off to the races. Before we actually close the meeting out, I'm going to officially close the meeting out now, but want you to all stay a little bit longer and put you in the hands of Joni as we identify who will take what role next week.
Thank you for that, Andy. But before I do, we have them here now. We have to give them kudos, even though we're over time. Allison, big up yourself. Applause. Congratulations on completing your level 4. Everybody, let's give Allison a round of applause. And speeding through her path, our table topics master today, Asil completed her level 2 as well. Congratulations. That said, everybody, we need level 1s and level 2s. Yes, we want the other levels, but right now we need level 1s and level 2s, which means I want to be able to say I'm going to do a speakathon, which means we'll drop the other roles just so we can evaluate each other, so we can speak. Go on the website, sign up for your speeches. And if not, let me know. I'll do it. But if not, don't worry. You will be receiving various emails and other forms of messages asking you what roles you'd like to take. And Trisha, let me say to you personally, I would love to have you do a role at the next meeting. Just drop it in the chat and let me know what you'd prefer to do. Back to you. Well, no, I pass control to Madam President.
Unmute. Unmute, Marianne.
Thank you very much, Joni, and welcome back, Trisha. We are super happy to see you. It's been a while. And one of the things I want to remind everybody, and especially on the heels of Graham's speech, is that we have an election coming up in May. So if anyone is interested in taking a role on the board and helping move our club forward into the next year, please reach out to David Carr, our immediate past president, and he is in charge of putting the slate in front of everybody for voting. So let him know what you're interested in, and we're going to see if we can accommodate that. But we would love to have some new faces on that board. So please, please feel free to reach out. And I'm going to send an email out with a description of the roles. So if you're not sure of what they are, that you'll be able to look it over and see if it's for you. And if you have any questions, any of the members of the board would be very, very happy to, enlighten you on your on their particular role. So now let's see. We did have a fantastic meeting, and I really want to thank everyone for being here tonight. And as Joni said, please sign up for roles. We are trying to round out the meetings in advance so we're not scrambling at the last minute. And I thank everybody for being here. So with that, we're closing it out, and great to see you guests, and hope you come back again next week.
Bye.